In a quiet town, surrounded by dusty roads and small houses, there lived a young man named Daniel. Daniel was known by everyone, not because of what he had achieved, but because of what he constantly talked about. He was full of ideas, full of ambition, full of energy, at least in his words. Every week, Daniel had a new vision. One week, he dreamed of opening a clothing store that would attract customers from nearby villages. The next week, he wanted to become an artist, shaping clay into beautiful sculptures. Then, suddenly, he wanted to build a house with his own hands. But Daniel had one habit that quietly destroyed everything he started. Before taking even the first step, he would announce his plans to everyone. He walked through the streets, speaking loudly, making sure people heard him. "I'm going to build the best shop this town has ever seen," he would say. People smiled, some clapped, others encouraged him with kind words, and every time Daniel felt something powerful, a sense of accomplishment. That night he would sleep peacefully, proud of himself. But the next morning, something was missing. The energy, the drive, the urgency to begin. Days would pass and nothing would happen. The shop was never built. Soon, Daniel moved on to another idea. This time, he gathered people again and declared, "I will create the most beautiful pottery in this entire region." Once again, people praised him. Once again, he felt important. Once again, nothing happened after. He never touched the clay. This cycle continued for years, dream after dream, announcement after announcement, applause after applause, but no real progress. Inside, Daniel began to feel lost. He didn't understand why he always started with so much excitement but never finished anything. He felt stuck, as if something invisible was holding him back. One evening, as the sun slowly disappeared behind the hills, Daniel sat alone near an old well. His thoughts were heavy. His heart felt tired. That's when an old man approached him. This man was known in the town not for his words, but for his wisdom. He spoke little, but when he did, people listened. He sat next to Daniel and asked softly, "Why do you look so troubled, my son?" Daniel sighed deeply. "I have so many dreams, but I never complete them. I don't know what's wrong with me." The old man looked at him calmly and asked, "What do you usually do when you have a new idea?" Daniel replied without hesitation, "I tell everyone. I want them to know. I want them to be proud of me." The old man smiled gently. "Come see me tomorrow morning. I want to show you something." The next day, Daniel met him in a small garden. The old man held 2 seeds in his hand. He gave one to Daniel and said, "Plant this in the soil." Daniel dug a small hole, placed the seed inside, and covered it carefully. Then the old man lifted the second seed high into the air and called nearby children. "Look at this seed," he said. "Soon it will grow into a strong and beautiful tree." The children clapped and laughed. Then, instead of planting it, he placed the seed on a rock, fully exposed. Days passed. The seed in the soil was quietly watered every day. No one talked about it, no one praised it. Slowly, something began to happen. A small green sprout appeared. It grew little by little, stronger each day. Meanwhile, the seed on the rock stayed the same. It dried under the sun. Birds pecked at it. Eventually, it disappeared. One afternoon, Daniel stood there looking at the growing plant and the empty rock. The old man turned to him and said, "A seed needs silence to grow. It needs protection. It needs time, hidden beneath the surface. If you expose it too early, it will never become what it was meant to be." Daniel felt something shift inside him. The old man continued, "When you talk too much about your dreams, your mind gets a reward before the work is done. The praise you receive tricks your brain into feeling successful, and because of that, you lose the desire to act. Daniel lowered his head. He recognized himself in those words. Every time he spoke about his plans, he felt fulfilled without doing anything. The illusion of success replaced real effort. The old man placed his hand on Daniel's shoulder. Your dreams are fragile in the beginning. Protect them. Work on them quietly. Let your actions grow in silence. When the results are ready, they will speak for you. That day changed everything. Daniel went home and made a decision. He would try again, but differently. This time, he chose a simple goal to build a wooden bench, and this time, he told no one. Every evening, after his daily responsibilities, he worked quietly. Some days were difficult. Some days he felt like giving up. But there was no audience, no applause, no pressure, only him and his work. Days became weeks. Slowly, the bench took shape. He made mistakes, he learned, he improved, and one day it was finished. When he sat on it, he felt something new. Not the empty pride from words, but a deep, real satisfaction. Later, a neighbor noticed the bench and asked, "Daniel, this is incredible. When did you make this?" Daniel simply smiled and said, "I've been working on it." No announcement, no noise, just results. From that moment on, Daniel changed his life. He continued working in silence, a table, a chair, a shelf, one project after another. Years passed, and he became known as a skilled craftsman, not because he talked, but because he delivered. People respected him more than ever before because his actions spoke louder than any words he could ever say. Now think about yourself. How many times have you shared a goal too early? How many dreams have you weakened by exposing them before they were ready? When you speak too soon, you give away your energy. But when you stay silent, you build power. So the next time you feel the urge to announce your big idea, pause, stay quiet, work in silence, let your results make the noise. If this message made you think differently, don't keep it to yourself, share it with someone who needs this reminder. And if you're serious about changing your life, start today in silence.